Switzerland has a federal republic for their government, and they have a presidential system very similar to the United States. Their structure would be they have a judicial, legislative, and executive branch. The judicial branch has 38 Supreme Court justices and 31 substitute justices, which is very similar to the United States, except they have more. The legislative branch is bicameral, with the House of the National Council and the Council of States, which is much like our Senate and House of Representatives. And the executive branch is the chief of state, or their president, and his cabinet. Their president is Uli Maurer, and Switzerland is a federalist country with an American inspiration. And they have a Bill of Rights that states given rights to any Swiss citizen, and it's very similar to the United States. They have no problems with the lack of rights, and the main issue over the past couple years have how they treat people who are trying to leave their country and go to Switzerland, and they just want the citizens to treat them better. The government's been treating them great. Some of the rights given in the Swiss Bill of Rights would be to promote welfare, liberty, they strive to protect natural resources, right to aid, the right to live with personal freedom, the right to privacy, right of marriage, and freedom of religion. Their economic system in Switzerland is extremely capitalistic, and they have free enterprise, low taxes, and one of the most competitive economies in the world. However, Swiss success is completely determined by their neighboring countries because they buy all of the Swiss exports. Some of the exports would be agricultural, but that's about less than 10%. And industry, more than 40%, mostly metal stuff. And services, such as banking, tourism, and assurances, is more than 50%. Taxes in Switzerland are some of the lowest in the world. And income tax for a single person is about 1%. And the rate for a married person is about 0.77%, but the maximum a person can pay on income taxes would be 11.5%, and the property tax is anywhere from 0.3 to 0.5%. The GDP of Switzerland is $632.2 billion, and the GDP per capita is roughly $79,000. And judging up by this, Switzerland is one of the most prosperous countries in the world, and the people are doing great.
Switzerland is one of the few countries in the world that can say that they are completely neutral. The country has a military, but it hasn't been used in many years. With that being said, Switzerland doesn't really have any allies or enemies because they have been neutral since 1815. They refuse to ally with countries because then they would have enemies as well. The relation with other countries are pretty good because they don't take sides, so it seems like everyone likes them. They get along very well with the neighboring countries. Switzerland and the United States have a great relationship. We are not technically allies, but they tend to side with us on many issues. Switzerland became a full-time member of the UN on September 10, 2002. Others call the Swiss and the UN indispensable, saying that they have been a very active member of the UN since they joined 11 years ago. They take initiative in many topics and are a vital part of the General Assembly. The cost of living is near 40% lower in the United States than Switzerland for almost everything, so food, housing, and other costs. Consumer prices, including rent in the United States, are 46.80% lower than in Switzerland. Rent prices in the United States are 44.53% lower than in Switzerland. Restaurant prices in the United States are 52.45% lower than in Switzerland, and grocery expenses in the United States are 47.48% lower than in Switzerland. Local purchasing power in the United States is 1.29% lower than in Switzerland. The government is a very similar system to the United States. They have a Bill of Rights with the similar rights to ours as well. However, the economies are different. While the United States has many companies relying on the government, while in Switzerland, they have one of the most competitive economies in the world. The taxing in Switzerland is also a lot lower than in most countries in the world, too. Judging by the economy of the government, I would say that Switzerland would be a great place to live. Yes, the cost of living there is more, but the average person makes about $25,000 more than the average American. Also, Switzerland has a great economy with a great government. All of these factors make Switzerland one of the best countries in the world in almost every category.